Привет. Welcome to our new Russian broadcast. If you got confused as much as we did at the beginning there, what a start to the day it's going to be.
Of course.
We get a bit of Russian in there. My shirt took literally 10 minutes to iron and still doesn't look any good. And I'm just continuing. So just to, like, I bought new shirts. I was like, oh, do you know what? I won't wear the same thing in Contenders for 3 phrases in a row. I'll add some new shirts to it. This one's horrible. It's either going in the bin or it needs a proper steamer for it because ironing does not work on this shirt. On day one where I wore it last week, I was like, oh, this is crisp. That's because it's fresh out the packet.
Yeah.
Now it's all failure.
All goes downhill from there, man.
Yeah.
All goes downhill from there. But tell you what, we have another day of action for these teams. Could it go downhill for some of these teams, or will it rise up? I
think today's going to be the interesting day because we didn't have anyone contest spots. Everyone was pretty happy with where they got, but we're getting 2 games of Miramar in, and Miramar was, again, the one where it was completely flip side to what we saw on the other maps. Obviously, we get Sanok in again, which is going to be good to see if what Moops can do again because we bigged them up so highly. Then it's a different lobby, 16 other teams in here, and some teams they know, right? They were in their group, but the other teams not too sure about. And I think that was quite interesting. And for ELGIG, they clearly have watched what Moops were doing when it came to Sanok and showed them that, hey, look, you can't get away with doing that against us.
Definitely, and even in general, ELGIG, they had to step up their game overall, and maybe coming up against kind of these better teams, you know, kind of was a standard in terms of, like, you know, to be the best, you got to beat the best, or they're going up against the best now, and they got their first chicken dinner of Phase 3. Airstation, Mike, they're a team that have, I don't know if they've done it on purpose, whether they're just playing passive on purpose or whether it's just something they're waiting to get into it, but yesterday they scored more placement points than kill points, and that's really unusual for them. Yes, they scored high in placement points in the group stage with the chicken dinners, but they were always more highly aggressive with the kill points. But after day one, we're seeing it.
Here we go. Well, there's our total standings, as eventually we'll click through to the correct buttons to make this happen. It's still just a 10-point gap between PG18 and Milky Way. Now, Milky Way had the insane start, right? They got a 29-point game on Erangel. Great way to kick things off. But PG18, for me, get more credit because they were the more consistent team. A 3rd place, a 4th place, a 6th place with a good amount of kills in there. Then they had one bad placement off memory. It was like 12th or 13th.
It was Miramar game points.
But there you can get away with having a bad game every now and again. And there's only so much we can read into what we have on the standings for now. But what it does do, and this is why I speak about the mentality, and people really underestimate how the mental game works just in esports in general, but especially for PUBG, because what you did yesterday may have worked. You can try exactly the same thing again today, like we speak about, with maybe minor adjustments, but it might not work. But what you have to do is not let that affect your confidence. So for me, when I look at teams that have wins on the day one or have a good overall day, that to me is, okay, are they going to be a team that feeds off this, or are they a team that changes it and goes, okay, now we really need to, like, maybe they didn't expect it themselves and they have to bring another level to it. Where at least when you look at teams like Tornado, yes, they're down with 8 points at the moment in 13th, but I feel so confident from what I've seen from them in the past, I've seen them make comebacks before, that I know that's not going to happen in a few days' time. And the crazy thing about all of this is obviously it's 4 matches per day, but we have, and there you go, perfect timing, 4 matches per day. These are the ones that will lead you up to 8, but that's only 8 matches out of 48 in total. That's a long way to go for these guys.
It's insane, like, as CDC say, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, and these guys are looking to rock and roll into the PEL. Like, and I suppose another aspect is compared to the group stage is that you do have 12 spots available for these teams. So I would say that there's a certain level of forgiveness there in terms of results. So as opposed to a group stage where you'd be looking at about 5 to 6 points average per game to get into top 8. For the kind of top 12, you're looking at between 3 and 4 points per game, give or take. So there is that kind of level of, well, okay, Tornado Energy, they had a bad day. They could have another bad day, but I'm pretty sure that with some strong results over the next coming days or over the next coming weeks, that they will get into the top 12. So I think there is a level of forgiveness there compared to group stage.
And I want to see some of these teams like we saw with InsideGames. They had moments where we say, yes, that's the InsideGames we know and love. And then other moments where you go, well, that was less than ideal. And I just want to see, because yesterday was such a big learning curve for a lot of these teams. Different style of lobby. Teams act differently. Teams may be more aggressive than what they thought of in the first place. And we spoke about Airstation Mike. They were slightly more, right? They were getting involved, but then they didn't get the placement points alongside it. So it's it may have worked before, but everything changes when you come into this one. I think that's the key factors for everyone to keep in their minds across all of PUBG Europe Contenders throughout the rest of this final stage. Remember, it's only day 2 of this final stage, so plenty more to come. And as always, the points on your screen is 1 kill equals 1 point, and then only if you're in the top 8, you're walking away with some points, and all the way up to first will net you the 10 in total. And let me take a minute to say right here to you guys in Twitch chat and everywhere else you're watching is thank you for rocking it with us. I know that you guys are supporting and screaming. When we watch back on the VODs, right, you can see all the Twitch chat stuff going on. And there's MOOPHEUS has a huge cheering crowd in there. But a lot of other teams now picking up some like crazy little fan bases away. And I love it because I see the comments and you see how into it people get. And this comes back to if you are watching and you really are a favourite of a team, because we can't watch one team the whole time, head on over to the map stream, keep an eye on what they're doing. You can really focus down on what your team's doing and see how things may go wrong, because we don't catch every single fight. It's literally impossible. We try to paint the picture and do the storytelling as much as possible, but it's a lot of fun either way.
And also, in fairness, when the teams look back on the VODs, the more that you're cheering in chat, the more that they're going to feed off that support. It might not be a lot, but it's going to give, if they've had a bad day and they're looking back on the VOD and they see, even through a bad moment that your team have had, but they see those emotes popping out, I guarantee you that's something that's better than the kick in the face that they've had during that day. So spamming that level of support really does help you guys. But one thing that I did kind of want to point out, it's not much, but I'm interested to see if there's going to be a pattern there, is that the winners of yesterday's games are all lying in 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th, respectively. So it's kind of like winner, non-winner, winner, non-winner, winner, non-winner.
Yeah.
So interesting to see if that will kind of play out a little bit more in pattern as we get through the days.
So an interesting way of looking at the divide so far already in the points. And that's just because of how different it was in terms of some teams were the consistent ones, your PJT and your Milky Way. Even with the bad games Milky Way had, because they had such a lead, they were still able to net themselves 47 points off the back of it. So the 29-point game was on its own. We're still waiting to see if that can be beaten. I'm down to say that they might beat it again. Let's see how Erangel goes for them.
Well, you put it down to Milky Way is getting...
going to beat themselves, basically.
Going to beat themselves, and I'd put it down as Tornado Energy.
You could not be choosing another better team as well outside of that. Like, there are so many teams that we've seen do this kind of damage and be able to have huge kill games alongside the wins. But to start off on day 1 the way Milky Way did, like, that was crazy. That was taking full advantage of everything they had to offer. But we've seen it before where teams have done this, come out really all guns blazing, and then other teams go, okay, that's how they like to play. And then they don't adjust. So it comes back to those small micro adjustments again that we continue to talk about.
It's true, and I know the last 2 games were Sandhawk, but at the end of the day, it's a map that's still being played. And if you want to play Devil's Advocate...
Not the last 2 games.
Not the last 2 games.
1 Erangel, 2 Miramar, 1 Sandhawk.
My apologies. No, yesterday I was talking.
Yes,
To play Devil's Advocate, like Milky Way, they got 2 games with kind of low points.
Yep.
Let's kind of play Devil's Advocate. Yeah, okay, 1 good game, like maybe a day or a week. Is that really going to be enough if you're going to follow it up with kind of 2 games where you're getting below 5 or 6 points?
Yeah.
Just to see. So it's great to get that super amazing result with all those kills, but if you're not being consistent enough, you're going to see yourself dropping down.
One thing I did like as well was Northern Lights stepped up a gear from what we saw towards the end of Group B. Group B, they went from 1st to 2nd and then dropped down nearly to 3rd. Then Tempest didn't quite get enough points. So they managed to hold on to 2nd. But they were so far ahead of anyone else at the beginning of last week. Then going into today, I was kind of thinking, or yesterday, sorry, I was going into that and thinking, okay, this is really where I want to see Northern Lights we've seen and bring that A game again. And that's what they tried to do. They obviously had a few engagements that were less than ideal for them, but they've made a solid effort, I would say, to deliver on this. And I think given in today, when they go through, get their normal positions again, they feel comfortable where they're dropping. I want to see that Northern Lights team come alive. So I'm going to be keenly focused on what they can do today. And if it starts to look bad, then for me, it's like, okay, then what are you doing after this? Because you slow down in Group B, you cannot afford to slow down at this stage. This is a whole new system. We've got all 0 points again. It all started off yesterday.
Exactly.
There's no room for errors anymore.
Well, this is it. We're getting into our first game of the day. Finally, Erangel hopping on board. The plane directly going from the northwest down to the southwest directly in a nice flight path for these teams. You have Tempest dropping out straight away along with Jokers. We know Jokers love to land around Severny/Stolbar. Milky Way, they choose between there or George Paul, but because I'm sure they've done their research, they know Jokers love to land there, they're choosing George Paul. Also because we saw yesterday ELGIGANTEN had George Paul all on their own, there's plenty of space there for Milky Way to land there.
So ELGIGANTEN didn't have it all on their own yesterday.
Was it not?
No, it was all of Group B. Remember, they got left out on their own. That was out their Elgig spot. And yesterday, Milky Way did join them there for the Erangel game. Yeah, that's where they. And what I noted from that. No, it's an easy thing to get confused about because these games will start to kind of mold into one basically. But the reason I pointed that out yesterday was because Elgig was so used to having Georgia Pole to themselves. So what I did like was Elgig didn't actually get taken out by Milky Way like on the rotation or anything crazy like that. But it also depends where the circle pops. So there's still a bit that could happen there. Interestingly enough, military base this time around, we got a nice circle as well. I'm down with this. But military base is only going to have Unity in again.
Once again, that's who I think that's what I meant by a team being an area on their own. We talked about that yesterday where Unity kind of had all of both Nova and military base all to themselves. And we said that I don't think this will kind of carry on, but at least coming in today too, nobody else has joined them on the island. But with that phase 1 circle, it is down southwest. PG-18, they're spread out across Galka. Normally they have that kind of relatively all to themselves, locked down, depending on how the circle is. But with it down in their location, I feel that they'll want to join together as a 4-man squad earlier than usual and hold a center spot inside the circle because a lot of teams are going to be rotating in there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of teams would also have an idea how PGA team play this, right? Because Gatka on its own, this is the best way to do it, having this 1v1, 1v1, everyone will split up, get your loot you want. But then they might have to group up now earlier than what they would like to, given the fact the circle's gone pretty much directly on top of them. So it'll be looking up to see what they can do this time around. Better luck next time. They're just across from Ferry Pier. They're over the military island towards the eastern side of it. Tornado got themselves in vehicles. They're still been going for Milta. Interestingly enough, despite Unity being so close to the circle and having military base, and they had vehicles, they didn't want to bother and go to Novo. So this time around, they're leaving Novo empty, which, fair enough, you can do that if you want. But that's just another spot potentially. If Unity want to keep leaving it open, they put 4 players in military, then another team's got an additional spot they can jump into.
You're dead right. You're dead right. Definitely going to keep an eye on that as we go throughout the days. And just to turn back on to PG-18 or at least mention the 2 teams that have had roster changes once again from the group stage. PG-18, Ubica came in instead of Nemrith, so there's been that swap around. And then Anuktiv, who was previously of Avangar, is now on Unity instead of ToWzErA. Now for PG-18, that worked out yesterday because you saw those consistent results really playing out for their side. So Ubica, you could say, at least shown that benefit of the addition for that team so far. But then on Unity, I definitely think they're still finding their place with that new member in.
I think the great thing for PG-18, and my biggest concern for PG-18, was you change a player, you had a really good start towards the end of last week, and I'm thinking, well, you make a change, how much is this really going to affect you? And they still showed us they can do it. Still looked really strong, so let's see what they can do today. Moops are already starting to rotate closer towards where PG-18 are hanging about. The YMCA players are all in Primorsk, except for Kajoti. He's going to be sat just towards Ferry Pier, up towards the north of it. But I do worry about when more of these teams rotate in, if he really wants to hang there on his own for the longest of time. Maybe he needs to wait for the rest of his teammates to join, because you are kind of like a sitting duck at this point.
Certainly don't want to go quackers in the world of PUBG. Had to say, man, had to say. We did pan over onto Last Crew for a sec there. Their team, that they actually have the same placement points as kill points, 12 and 12 each, making it 24. So I actually like it. They didn't exactly super stand out overall as a team compared to others, but you have that consistency in placement points and kills across the board. It will work out pretty strong. Of course, they have to be solid overall, and definitely they will want more than 24 points in 4 games as we go throughout these days. But for day one and for that kind of balance, I think it's a good start for them.
Very quiet for Erangel to start things off with here. No one's taking the fights early just yet. The rotation coming out through towards Pachinki is going to be the most interesting one, because Quick Math, Last Crew, InsideGames, even Airstation Mike can all barrel across that side of things. Tornado will probably be the last ones to depart because it took them a long time to get towards Milta. Unity being on military base, they can pretty much just sit and wait for things to go down because the circle's already covering most of military base in it of where they are, so not towards the eastern side towards Nova, it's more towards the west. But it allows for them to sit back and they can just wait. They don't have to be too scared of maybe BetterLuckNxTime bridge camping or anything like that.
Now, where Jokers are upholding is on top of, or at least are going through the mountain that is below George Paul. That's always, I feel, a good spot in the first couple of phases to occupy, because it gives you good scope of the teams that are rotating in from the likes of Pachinki and elsewhere. And then, of course, when it does shift away in the early stages, you're able to move out. But then when we look at Gaka is a good spot to hold on either the north or the south side, but everywhere else is very risky for these teams. So I think definitely with all the teams kind of clumped in around kind of Gaka and that small area as you see, I think those are the most viable spots for now.
Now, ELGIGANTEN. I enjoyed watching what they were able to do yesterday. It looked a lot better than what we'd seen from him towards the group stage where sometimes it was getting quite awkward.
Yep.
But they need to be able to deliver things once again today. And I'm really going to rely on players like, because we've seen MOORPHEUS do well, we've seen KnorkiS step it up,
Yep.
but we need the whole team to come alive, similar to what we saw them do on Sanok at the end yesterday.
Yes. Their synergy really shine through. As Airstation might rotate down south, just above Quarry, the teams that are outside of the circle for now are InsideGames, Tornado Energy, and Tempest. Those are the three teams that are outside circle.
You can't hear any sound, can you? Game sound?
No.
I thought, yeah. I was like, I've just looked at my buttons and I'm like, do I need to turn something up?
I think that's part of the reason why it seems quiet as well.
Yeah. Nope, still can't hear it, Mr. Producer. I'm sorry. At first, I just thought I was being deaf, and then I checked with Cormac because I was like looking at my buttons down here, and I'm like, definitely they're all where I left them yesterday. Nothing's changed.
No problem.
All right, let's see. Fate, give us a shot, mate. Take a shot of orange. You seem to be waiting for it. Then I'll see if I can actually hear anything, and then we've got a good idea where this may go down. Okay, TheTab took on DP. We're going to get 1-for-1 trades between Milky Way and Jokers. And that's Jokers having to rotate their way down from Severny. And Milky Way have got themselves just towards the southwest of Gatka, where Jokers haven't even fully got themselves in. And they're also on a 2-2 split, so it's some distance fights going on. So Milky Way here have a better chance of keeping their one player alive who's knocked. Or at least for Jokers, they're going to have to go on some rescue mission, as it be.
Well, Jokers are known for those kind of either 2-2 splits or 3-1 split, as Fate was looking for
Orange.
For orange, and it just panned away. But phase 2, it's going down south. Oh, baby, that's a bit of a kick in the face.
Yeah, this is the painful one for a lot of teams because next circle has to exclude water, which means we'll lose most of that by ferry pier, and it means we'll also lose a good chunk of landmass. So let's say there's probably about 20%, 25% water in this one.
Yep, and...
Big rips. Look at all the teams just send it. Hey, we hear gunshots. There's noise. There's stuff happening. There's Perfectix getting wiped around. MOORPHEUS finds the first knock onto him. ghostar's barreling out an nades. The Deep does manage to move forward. He's further away, trying to get himself under some cover here. But he is fully outnumbered. Northern Lights, once again, this is not working out for MOORPHEUS with a finish off on the Perfectix. Deep is just hiding down, but he is completely surrounded here. KnorkiS, do stick with MOORPHEUS, because ghostar's a little bit further away, and you don't want to see your teammate get knocked. I believe ghostar would have heard that 2 players came out, but I'm not sure if he's seen it.
But there is also Tempest from the distance shooting off, as Deep does indeed find MOORPHEUS, knocks him down. The return with a grenade gets thrown out as Deep gets knocked down.
I thought MOORPHEUS was dead. I thought he was done for, but ghostar, he comes in to save the day. What a beauty. Not ideal for Northern Lights. Okay, bro, the only one who's still up. Spiro knocked down on the floor. And ELGIGANTEN, they're hot and heavy on day 2. Once again, they are not slowing down and they are not allowing Northern Lights any chance.
And that's only on the edge of the circle. It's not even for a deep central area of this phase 2. But now we're seeing Tornado Energy. I fear that might happen because InsideGames were inside the circle to begin with. That phase 2 shifted down south, and InsideGames had the prime position to just rotate in And of course, Tornado Energy have tried to go up against them.
They're getting away with it. Marcelek finds the knock. Damage being done. That was such a spin around. KnorkiS helping Marcelek out a hell of a lot there. He was very low on health. I thought he was the one getting the knocks. But the kills will go in favor of ELGIGANTEN regardless. And what a hold from these guys, keeping all 4 players alive. MOORPHEUS looked doomed. I'm so baffled.
He did indeed. But you got to say, though, that possibly that was a lack of information and awareness from Northern Lights, because they initially went in on that one member of ELGIGANTEN, thinking that he was the only one there, not realizing that MOORPHEUS was behind those 2 members of Northern Lights.
Yeah.
And that's where the lack of awareness comes in. So if you got to be really sure when you kind of breach a compound that you know where those players are. Otherwise, as we saw, it went against Northern Lights.
Now, we haven't seen it on the screen here, but if you are watching the map stream, last crew rotated all the way down, past Gatka, went down south, past Primorsk, and found themselves just on the beach line of where Ferry Pier is here. They've got a good compound, and there we go, perfect timing. Last crew on your screens right now. So these guys did a long rotation, didn't take any fights. They don't need to take any fights right yet. It's 12 minutes in. They're getting themselves a good spot. They're within the circle, but there's not many teams around them. So this gives them a lot of time to work out exactly how they want to play this and allow some of these other teams to fight out and then come into it. We spoke about them having 24 points at the moment. It's a good place to be in after day one. Nothing too special, but nothing awful either. Exactly. Middle ground. But if they can just keep chipping away and getting these extra points, then that'll be perfect for them. And talking about chipping away, Airstation Mike, they're going to have a pop at the PGA team, boys. D's. He's got his teammate close to him, trying to give him some cover. Some distance fights was happening, but you got Airstation Mike, you got Tempest, you got Quick Math, and you got a bloody horrible circle, which still includes a ton of water.
You said, why did you give these players false hope, James? You said the next phase was going to exclude water, but it still includes it. Oh, very
I need to look at how much water should have been excluded, because it seems like we've got technically more water in this circle now.
It does look that way. It's going to require a lot of hard shifts from these teams. Airstation Mike moving down south. 3D Max moving down south. The team moving just swiftly down towards Ferry Pier. We're going to have a lot of action in a lot of seconds as ToWzErA gets knocked down. Zampeek actually takes himself out with the vehicle. ToWzErA gets secured by Reggie Birdo. Double on to Noki. Double on to Noki once again to get that kill. I gotta say, Team Moops are winning the fight right now.
Can they keep it up, though? They're now firing off some few more shots. You can see Double doing a good amount of damage here. Jazza trying to use the smoke for cover. Trying to get himself in a better position for this one. Reggie's still on the floor. They should be able to bring him back up. Smokes are ready to be used if needed here. Kadoran trying to get the nades out to see if he can land anything on players pushing forward. But they do have to be careful because you can barrel off all these grenades very early on here, but they don't have the full information of where these guys are sat. And because of how many smokes are down, it can become very hard. But fake will eat one. Jazza straight on the revive. Can they get a Never Nade directly on top of that quickly after? It's exactly what happens. Double takes down Jazza and eliminates Fake and Airstation Mike. They are struggling.
They are struggling. I'll tell you who else is struggling. That is Tornado Energy. They lost one member at the hands of InsideGames. They've lost another player at the hands of BetterLuckNxTime. They're down to 2. Aliyah, GG, and Compa are the 2 left standing at the edge of the circle as Airstation Mike do get eliminated, confirmed by Team Moops and YMCA, both joining forces, so to speak, as we see Arctics looking for the angle on the Aliyah GG on Tornado Energy. Compa gets spotted out, but now we see Tempest on the western side of the circle trying to find the likes of Milky Way and Jokers.
Too many players looking at Aliyah. He is going to struggle to get out of this one. They are ready and waiting for him. You can heal up as much as you want. The best thing you're hoping for here is a kill, potentially. But look at the positions. Fate coming around the side here, out in the open. He's just confident with it. The Blues also going to start ticking away at Aliyah now. And he's just going to nade himself out. He's not ready to fight this off any longer, and he doesn't want them getting any more points.
I tell you, that has actually kind of, even though BetterLuckNxTime didn't get that kill point, it's kind of helped their cause because it means that they can now rotate into a circle a little bit quicker because they were kind of leaving a little bit late, even though they wanted to get that point as quickly as possible. We are going to see this phase 4 circle. I'm sure it has to exclude water, but Marcelek from ELGIGANTEN spots out and knocks down Ubica of PG-18.
Marcelek will find himself getting knocked, though, regardless. He took too much damage, and now he's just going to try and crawl his way in. The rest of the ELGIG players trying to fire back. Dees, who was previously knocked, is going to find himself going down once again.
ELGIG are on 4 kills already, James.
They're not slowing down at all. They need to bring Marcelek back up, though. He's taking a lot of damage from this circle.
He is.
Yeah, he'll just go out to it. There's no hope for him, sadly. More nades going to be used, though. Wanderer, no chance at all. That nade might even finish him off.
PG-18 taken out.
Yeah, PG-18 heavily under pressure. Ubica in the back line for Krent. Trying to make it work for him. He's spotting around. He can see the Wanderer, but KnorkiS is hiding in the smoke closely by.
Ooh,
Nicely done. Turning it around. Straight in with a finish off on the Morpheus. That's 2 ELGIG players gone down now. And you can fight for only so long. KnorkiS on his own. 5 kills we were speaking about. But they're not going to be happy with that if they go down in 13th place. He's completely prone down. There's still smokes providing a bit of cover. He's got a grenade to use as well.
Well, that's because Jokers are there. And Jokers kind of joined in for a bit of the third party. All the while we've seen QuickMath go up against BetterLuckNxTime. They took down 2 members. But ELGIGANTEN do get eliminated in 13th place. So a lot of action on the map for this game 1 of Erangels because we've had these hardships. So teams have just kind of been bunched together, forced together, so to speak, whether it's inside the circle or outside the circle. As we see ghostar, the remaining member of BetterLuckNxTime in the blue zone, taking that tick damage of phase 4, which isn't nice to be honest, but trying to spot it and catch out the 2 members of QuickMath.
Jokers haven't come down all the way from Zaverny. They were fighting from the moment they got in Gatka first against Milky Way. Then engaging, trying to get a third party on go towards the PGA team players, but that didn't work out for them either. So they'll be out now in 12th place. 11 teams remain, 35 alive. We don't have water in it now. Ferry Pier has just about been excluded. Last crew, we spoke about them earlier, still in a nice spot. They're just on the edge of the circle in their compound now, but they haven't had to move. They've been chilling here for a while. They've watched all this go down, and they'll be ready for a big fight, fully stocked up by the looks of it.
That's the same with also Unity and YMCA. All those 3 teams have just held on to these compounds. They're still inside circle. But I tell you what, with this next circle shift, I definitely think it's going to require movement and reposition from both Last Crew and Unity, as we see Doran trying to find InsideGames, seniks on that bike. Odstrelovac behind that vehicle, Snoopy behind that tree, popping those shots off, trying to find them underneath the truck. Not quite getting it, nearly.
Snoopy praying, hoping some of those shots can connect. The Moops will fire off a few grenades down towards the inside game players, and only Odstrelovac remains now. And he knows he can't move. He's got 2 teams looking directly in his direction. He'd love to be able to bring seniks back up and at least try and fight this off, but it's probably not going to be possible.
And if there's more members of BetterLuckNxTime up... Oh, actually, no. The 3 QuickMath members are going to join in. The circle shift has gone very central. YMCA still hold on to that compound. 2 members of 3D Max are split up, but they're still inside the circle.
Good smoke coverage here, and they've got the cars as well as a rock to hide behind for the Tempest players. But that doesn't make things any easier when you've got Milky Way in one compound looking at you, and Last Crew from the other side taking shots. Still plenty of kills happening across the board. PGA team trying to work their way in, but they're going to go straight in front of YMCA. BetterLuckNxTime find themselves going down and double. He was up at 5 kills a moment ago, and we still continue to see his name.
Solar 3D Max found and exposed. QuickMath. And then Slonzo gets taken out by double, and that's going to be QuickMath eliminated in 10th place. All the while, Turbo Banani with that grenade onto PG-18, who survived against ELGIGANTEN thanks to a bit of help from Jokers. Skajudi just trying to reposition secura. Turbo Banani, Sampula are there. What can Ubica do? Going to try and heal himself up? Yes, he will. But no grenade connects onto Ubica.
Ubica's just waiting patiently there. He knows it's going to come down to timing as 3D Max. They're lighting up the kill feeds in terms of getting knocked, but they can't finish him off just yet. Eventually taking down Unity, that'll help him out quite a great deal. But at what cost was it? Because they don't have a lot to work with here. They're down in the south. Furex has got to try and pick Phantom up, who's just on the road out in the open on his own. This is going to be so difficult for them to deal with.
It definitely is going to be indeed, as InsideGames get taken out in 7th place at the hands of Moops, but Moops have to move in from the east edge of the circle, go inside, try and find a nice spot for themselves. It's got downhill a little bit, which could expose them to both YMCA and Last Crew especially. There is fEJK from 3D Max still there and Solar up in the far north. They're very separated. So that's something they're going to have to be aware of and careful. The good thing is that they're able to communicate and kind of give themselves information on where the teams are around them.
Milky Way are so far kings of Erangel. We've only had 2 games on it,
Yep.
2 including this one, might I add. But Milky Way had the 29-point game yesterday. Now, not anywhere near as active in terms of kills this game, but still 4 up. Still in a good position, still within the circle. But YMCA is going to be their biggest challenge because they've got the compound very central towards them. Yubica still prone, still hiding, still hoping. It's mad because PG-18 basically crashed the YMCA compound. All of them died and Yubica went, great, I'm going to sit here for a while now.
But you think Ubica would look to kind of finish them off, right? Because they no other team around them. Yeah, of course, maybe they're playing safe. But you would have thought that could come to bite them in the ass down the line. Now, this next circle, it did go down southeast. So it's taken half of the YMCA compound outside the circle, but it's still inside a little bit.
I just spotted there as well. I thought 3D Max only had 2 players. So one died on the road, but Solar is all the way up north now.
Yeah.
So he is so far away from fEJK.
Yep.
I've seen 3D Max do this before, and I'll get onto this one first because DP instantly going to get taken out there, but straight away, Last Crew, they're getting replied on. There they come back at it again. Kills galore, Milky Way, but they're losing players fast. It's cost them 2 already. They're up at 6 kills. Mans is on the floor. I zoom close by to him. They've got the ruck for cover, but they've got Moop shooting them at the same time. This is far too much for them to deal with, and I don't think they were fully aware of everything that was going on near them.
They definitely weren't. They kind of went full send on that, but I got to say it paid off for now. If Jappy and Mook, they've got to make their way across the road into the circle, that could go against Last Crew because if Milky Way play this right, they could let Team Moops do the hard work for them, fire shots off into Last Crew, and then Milky Way can pick up the pieces.
Now, what I was going to say about the 3D Max play, they've been keen to do this. When things start to look bad, they'll split up and try and have a solo-prone player be able to get them further and further in. And this was key to them last season. Can this pay off from this time around? Only time will tell. Solar's already gone, but fEJK's still up and running. 6 teams, 13 players alive, and Last Crew, they want to get close. Jappy, the only one still up. Man's taking out his teammate. He's looking through the flames. He can spot iZoom just a tad there, but he doesn't know where to take the shots. They fire back at him, and Last Crew are going out in 6th place. A good effort. They held on for a long time, right? But I'm not sure how many kills they would have got with that one.
Valiant effort indeed, as YMCA still have all members up. You have fEJK from 3D Max in that little hut on his own down south, just minding his own goddamn business. All the while, Team Moops have 3 members up, and Milky Way, they have 2, but 1 is knocked down. Actually, no. Make that 1 down, leaving Mans on his own.
I'm guessing iZoom just didn't have a clue where he's getting shot from because he didn't even try to move. That should have been a spot where they could have brought him back up. They had enough cover there. But either way, that's 12 kills up for Moops now.
Yep.
And they still have 3 players in it. Remember, Reggie went down ages ago.
Yep.
Oh, Yubica, I like this. Come alive, jump out. And let yourself out to the zone. Why not? Throw the grenade out, try the best you can. But still, that's a 5th place for PG-18. When we talk about the consistency game coming in, the placement points are there for these guys. fEJK has been spotted.
He was firing shots off in man, so that alerted Team Moops of shots in that direction, realizing that it can only be in one place. That is the hut. So we saw shots being fired off by them. They're on 12 kills already, James. 12. 8 of them being from double alone. He is taken out, leaving Doran and Hawkey on their own, but we know what they can do. Good position they've got to try and get into the circle. Did shift down south indeed. Still going in the favor of fEJK from 3D Max, but YMCA, they have to make a big charge to get into the circle.
And they do have the vehicle, but If that's just one vehicle, I don't want to see multiple players get into that. YMCA need to be so careful here because if they push out, there's so many teams that are just going to spray on down to him. Now, the car is going instantly forward, not in the circle just yet. Turbo's providing the cover fire, and he's doing a lot of good damage. Hawkeye gone down straight away, and there's one more still up there. Kadoran trying to heal himself up, but the rest of YMCA, they're straight going for it. They know they want this additional kill, and they're in such a good spot in terms of just player numbers here, but they are limited on the information they have on terms of where the other solo players are other than Kadoran, which means Mans and Furax, there is a chance for them in this.
True, but because Furax is across the road, I don't know if there's much he can do because he's not going to want to reposition, right? So it does make it a bit easier for YMCA to survive. But now we're seeing Kadoran. He got into the vehicle, got out, prone down, try and hide, get into cover. He's inside circle.
Blows his car up to provide that additional cover, but Sakura coming around the side, spraying down already, moops out in 4th place, but a good amount of kills alongside it. A valiant effort all to be had.
YMCA. Honestly, this is what we've seen from YMCA so many times. They play safe in the early game, they get a position, play for that kind of safe circle position, then late game they kind of start to pop off. They don't always get a high amount of kills, but this game has worked out so far. They're on 9. If they get the last 2 kills, that will be 11. And that chicken dinner, good start to the finals of day 2.
They just can't afford for anything to go wrong for them now, though. What I want to see is them take more control of this circle.
True.
They're all focused on the north and the east. Mans is over towards the west, Furex in the south. They've thrown out some utility already. We're only just about to get towards phase 8. New circles popped, and actually 50-50 splits on the road, so Furex is pretty comfortable for now. Mans will just have to prone his way forward. Kajuti is looking over towards the right direction, though. But does he have the information that Mans could be close?
But Kajuti shouldn't be on his own. Like, in my opinion, in this play, you got to have a 2-2 split. Because unless they've been keeping a really close eye on the kill feed, the presumption is they've got one team left, and it's a 4 against 2. But they have it even more in their favor because it's 4 against 1 against 1. So, realistically, YMCA, we see Turbo Manani get closer to Kajuti. I think that's really wise. You got to push forward if you want to get it deeper into the circle and take control. It's got to be in that 2-2 split because you do not want to get caught out and get taken out one by one.
Oh, Mans, he finds the first shot, but he won't be able to get the kill confirmed. They were grouped up. YMCA do go to do the 2-2 split that you know and love, Mr. Cormac, and that will secure them a 10th kill. Only Furax to find now, and for him, he may as well just let himself die out.
Furax, he's aggressive. He's currently on the highest on the kill feed. He's got 3 in this game alone. He's not going to go down without a fight.
But he went down.
He went down.
11 kills for YMCA. Not a bad win for them to kick things off with here on Erangel. Very interesting start there. YMCA keeping it very passive, a lot like last crew did throughout most of that game. They got their compounds, they rotated successfully into it, and then they came alive at the end. But YMCA, the difference between them and last crew was down to south, so they were looking more up north, less options for them to shoot at. YMCA, bit more central, further over towards the rest of the circle started to move, but they were able to take plenty of additional shots at teams, get knocks in there, and just apply the pressure non-stop with it. And one thing I'll say as well, I got my wires crossed. It's Sanhok, which is phase 3, it moves from water. In Miramar and Erangel, it's phase 4. Brain comes into action. Cool. That's why it ruined it for all those teams saying, oh, it'll be fine, you go away from that, it won't be too bad. And then it ended up being such a crazy styled ending.
Wow. And also, like, you got to give credit to last crew, right? Because you point out of their rotation from the north, because they left it later than the likes of YMCA, if they had headed down in the path or in the direction of where YMCA and the other teams were, there's a huge chance that they would not have survived. But by going down deep south and then crossing into the circle that way on the coastline, it was really the optimal position that they were able to hold on to get as far as they did into the game. And I got to give them credit for that. But also Team Moops, 12 kills in that game, constantly on the firing line, constantly going up against the likes of Airstation Mike. When we had that phase 3 shift down south and you had 4, 5, 6 teams going into the center of the circle, Team Moops survived against them all.
Yeah.
Man, that says a lot.
It's not bad at all. Now, Tempest, we saw out in 8th place. Only 1 kill again for them, so it's going to be 2 points, sadly, for these guys. Unity, on the other hand, they'll walk away with just 1 kill after all that. And they actually had to fight a fair bit. So this military island team is not able to get too much done, even when the circles are closer to them. So maybe it needs a bit more time. Maybe they're having the opposite luck into a PGA team where you change a player and things still aren't working out to what you want it to do. It can always be quite a big factor when it comes into it.
It can be. It depends on how easy it is for you to adapt in some way and to evolve. For some teams and for some players, it can take a little bit longer. Hopefully, it should work out in the end for Unity. As we see the results of this first game, Northern Lights and Tornado Energy. Tornado Energy, once again, getting a 0-point game.
I'm a little bit nervous. It's still very early, but it's just not like them. But I know they can come alive. I know they can get back into it. Airstation Mike, they had a rough ride once again coming into this one. But MOOPHEUS, YMCA, and Milky Way. Milky Way, regardless of what happened to them yesterday, right, in terms of they were still able to get that big win. 13 points additional when you're already in first place. Hell yeah, let's run with it. 3D Max getting 11 as well. And PG18, our consistent team so far, they're rocking up with a total of 6 points out of that game.
Like, for me personally, as much as I love a high point scoring game, I would much prefer that Milky Way get 2 solid double-digit finishes rather than a high 29 point followed by a 2 or a 5 point finish. But that's just me. Either way, we look at the kill feed. Double, like I said, Team MOOPHEUS, he did go out kind of earlier than the rest of his team, but not before getting 8 kills.
And I love it. He's just so far ahead of anyone else. He was getting activated early on, going straight in for all of those finish-offs. And you can just see it. The damage, even though there's more kills up for MOOPHEUS, was heavily in favor of YMCA. And that comes back to what I was saying earlier. They were just shooting from that compound. Any chances they had a nice split going on. They wanted to do as much damage as possible. And Double, you can see, right? Yes, he got the kills, but you can see how much of a team effort it was because it was only nearly 700 damage, 2 headshot kills in there as well, might I add. But he was obviously being helped out. And I think while we look at always these head-to-head stats, that's one thing we should never forget is that your whole team can be shooting at some of these players, and it's just whoever gets that final bullet in to put them to bed, so to speak.
Of course, you can stand out as much as anything else, and that will always be recognized. Like when you look at Phantom from 3D Max and Furax, they both kind of stood out, but it's a team effort, and you get it done as a team at the end of the day.
Team game is the name of PUBG. That's what we do with our squads across the board. But we're going to Miramar next, ladies and gentlemen. So 3 more games coming your way, 2 being Miramar. And we all know what happens when we go to Miramar. It completely changes. There's no way, there's no guarantee that you're going to be like, yes, did well here. I'm going to be able to bring it over to Miramar. So let's wait and see what goes down. We'll catch you guys after the break.